Welcome to 90 Day Digest, the series where I sit through each week's 90-day episode and break it down so that you don't have to. You'll get all of the drama and none of the wasted time. So subscribe now and let's get into it. On today's episode, we will be discussing Season 8, Episode 2 of Before the 90 Days, titled Fasten Your Seatbelts. The first couple we will be discussing today is Rick and Trisha. Rick's cousin Mika takes Rick to the airport as he prepares to depart for the Philippines to meet Trisha for the first time. Rick is hopeful that Trisha will be his dream girl, who will be able to step into a motherly role for his two young sons, making them one big happy family. Meanwhile, in Madagascar, we finally meet Trisha for the first time and learn that she is a professional midwife. We also learn that Trish is from a tribe called Antandrui, which she claims can be quite aggressive in nature. She tells us that whenever they have disagreements inside the tribe, that they settle it with physical disputes. Watch out, Rick! Trisha tells us that her ex-boyfriend is the one who brought her to the capital city of Madagascar from her tribal village. She and her ex were together for a total of 3 years. They ended up breaking up because she claims that he was cheating on her. A lot. She says that she loves Rick because of how endowed because of how responsible he is. Rick tells us that he plans to come clean to Trisha about what he did during the 5-day time period that they didn't speak. He says that he acted impulsively, which if watching 90 Day Fiance has taught me anything, it's that usually means cheating. Being the pampered gentleman that he is, Rick decides to get a hotel for him and Trisha to stay at. The reason being that Trisha's place has no air conditioning or hot water. Trisha is adamant that sexual chemistry is very important to her and Rick, and surely enough, they are planning to get it on the very first night. At long last, Rick and Trisha finally meet for the first time at the airport and embrace. How sweet! Trisha proceeds to ask Rick if he really loves her, and Rick tells her that now he really is sure. Yet, on the car ride to the hotel, Trisha accuses Rick of not trusting her, which if you watched my recap for episode 1, then you would know that is most certainly the case. She then proceeds to call him jealous, which is also likely considering he said in episode 1 that he fears Trisha might go back to her ex. In a full-blown attempt to brush the issue aside and have a good night, Rick says it's just because he sees what a prize she is. And it works. Finally, they get back to the hotel and take separate showers before engaging in a whole lot of stuff I can't show here. But let's just say they had a great night. Our next couple of the episode is one that we are being introduced to for the first time this season, and they are Aviva and Stig. Stig is a famous musician in Belize, which of course means that he has beautiful women throwing themselves at him at all times. Aviva even says that he could have any woman that he wants. Stig is beginning to remind me of someone, but I just can't put my finger on it. Aviva is 26 years old from Phoenix, Arizona, and she works as a dental assistant. She describes herself as a hopeless romantic. Aviva's aunt Spring lived in Belize at one point, where she went to visit her on vacation. Upon returning home from vacation, Aviva posted a video of her trip onto social media with the hashtag Belize, and shortly thereafter, she received a DM from the Stig man himself. She says she had heard Stig's music while in Belize on vacation, so she was admittedly a little starstruck when he messaged her. Considering they began interacting after her trip to Belize, the two of them have still never met in person before. Aviva's family is extremely skeptical of her and Stig's relationship. Auntie Spring goes as far as to say that he will make her head explode. Auntie Spring met her now ex-husband in Belize when she was 28, but 2 years ago she turned on the news to see that he was being arrested with another girl. And surely enough, that wasn't the first time that she had caught him cheating on her. So that ended up ultimately leading to divorce. Auntie Spring claims to have heard some concerning things about Stig. Apparently Stig had a recent Valentine's Day performance where he sang a song that he wrote about another woman, and that woman was at the show. Auntie Spring also says that she received reports that Stig and this girl Vicky were seen together during the show, and also seen leaving together. But of course, Aviva denies this, and reassures her aunt that Stig loves her very much. Auntie Spring will be going back to Belize soon, in order to finalize her divorce with her cheating husband. This will be at the same time that Aviva is in Belize visiting Stig for the first time. So in classic 90-day fashion, Auntie Spring will be there to intervene and spark some drama in an attempt to get to the bottom of whether Stig is cheating on Aviva or not. Later, Aviva packs her bags and gets ready to depart for Belize, where her and Stig will be united. Stig says that the one thing he wanted Aviva to bring from America is some Chinese food? So Aviva goes down to her local Panda Express and literally gets a styrofoam plate of Chinese food to bring with her on her flight to Belize. Meanwhile, Stig has no clue that Auntie Spring will be coming down to Belize to confront him. Aviva tells us that there is a small part of her that wonders if what Auntie Spring says could actually be true. The Chinese food she is bringing on the plane with her begins to leak on her back. She says that it smells terrible, but somehow still makes her hungry. Disgusting. Our third couple of the episode is Forrest and Sheena. Forrest and Sheena do dancercise together, in an effort for both of them to lose weight. We finally get Sheena's face revealed this episode, after being teased on episode 1. They talk about finding the alone time during their upcoming trip, so that they can do the dirty. Even though Forrest's parents will be accompanying him on his trip to visit Sheena, he is still concerned that they will get in his and Sheena's way. Forrest tells Sheena about his mother's concerns about him wanting to stay in the Philippines longer than originally planned. In other words, Molly is not having it. He says that it will be up to him and Sheena to convince his mother that him staying longer than planned is actually a good idea. Forrest then tells Sheena about his mother's concerns over Sheena's parents wanting to take control over their relationship. He expresses Molly's issue with Sheena's parents taking the money he and Sheena have been saving on multiple occasions. Forrest says he will tell Sheena's parents that he intends to take Sheena away from them. I can't wait to see that train wreck of a conversation. And to no surprise, Forrest suspects Sheena's family does not like him. Gee, I wonder why. But Forrest is convinced they don't like him because he has made Sheena more independent from them. We learn that of the time of filming, Forrest is currently unemployed, but Sheena has apparently been saving up for their life together in America, if you actually believe that. Forrest claims it causes tension between Sheena and her family when she doesn't give them money. Forrest attempts to scare us a little bit by telling us that the day he is set to leave for the Philippines, Sheena did some hardcore breakup level stuff. Forrest says that a year ago she had saved $4,000 to put toward the K-1 visa process, but she then confessed to him that she had given every last dollar to her parents. This is the third time that Sheena has lied about giving her and Forrest's savings to her parents. Forrest is convinced that Sheena's parents were intentionally sabotaging their relationship by keeping Sheena financially destitute. He says her parents threaten to throw her out on the street if she does not support them. Speaking of parents, Forrest says his mother Molly is like a hammer who likes to smash and destroy, yet he is still bringing her along for the trip. But that is because Molly is completely fed up with Sheena's lies. She thinks that Sheena is hiding even more secrets from Forrest, and that this is just the tip of the iceberg. I personally think Molly is delightful, and can't wait to see her and Sheena's parents meet face to face. On their way to the airport, Forrest tries to ease his mother's concerns by blaming Sheena's controlling parents for their problems. He is truly the definition of a mama's boy. Molly wants nothing more than to confront Sheena's parents in person so that they can get to the bottom of the situation. Dev has been in Forrest's life since he was 12 or 13 years old, and Forrest considers him as a father. Dev isn't much of a talker, but when he decides to speak, everyone listens. Dev has never flown on a plane before, so Forrest asks him how he feels about it. Molly then proceeds to make things awkward by asking Dev if he wants to join the Mile High Club, I can only assume Molly is already a member. They arrive at the airport and depart for the Philippines, and they awkwardly film their journey along the way. After landing on their first layover flight, Dev earns his wings. We get an intimate flashback moment with Forrest where he goes into detail about his past heartbreak. Just a few short years after high school, Forrest met a woman on a karaoke website. Against his mother's wishes, he flew to Indonesia to see her. The girl got Forrest a hotel room, but they apparently didn't talk much during the trip, and it's unclear if they even met. And yet, somehow this girl managed to steal $2,000 from him. Sound familiar? Surely enough, Forrest returned home feeling tricked. We meet Sheena for the first time and discover that she has been a licensed veterinarian for over 10 years. Sheena admits that she watches Forrest on his security cameras, even when he doesn't know that she is. But let's be real, he probably enjoys that. Sheena goes into detail about her and Molly's tumultuous relationship. She confesses to lying to Forrest about their financial situation. She admits that she has been funneling her and Forrest's savings directly to her family. She believed that Forrest would keep their financial details between the two of them and not involve his mother Molly. Sheena claims that the moment Molly got involved, problems began. Sheena reveals some juicy texts between her and Molly, and let's just say, Molly went off. Sheena is persistent that she had valid reasons for giving her family the money that her and Forrest were attempting to save. But of course, we don't learn what those reasons are this week. She is still left with concerns over her and her family's meeting with Molly, and her subsequent attempt to break her and Forrest's relationship apart. Speaking of relationships breaking apart, that leads us to our final couple of the episode, Emma and Ziad. Ziad claims that he told Emma about his boundaries when it came to public displays of affection, and that she knew he could only hug her and kiss her on the cheek. He also claims that she completely understood this. Emma reveals that Ziad never discussed his religious beliefs with her, and she was never informed on how much affection they were able to show one another in public. If you have experience watching 90 Day shows in the past, then you will know we have seen this exact same pattern of behavior on multiple occasions, and will continue to see it in the future. As they attempt to get to their taxicab, they bicker mindlessly over moving her luggage, as the tension is through the roof. These two are incredibly stubborn. Emma begins to question herself and their relationship, and it's only the first day. But she somehow manages to reassure herself that the good moments will outweigh the bad. Somewhere out there, her sister Izzy is rolling her eyes. As tensions settle down, on the way back to the hotel, Emma asks Ziad if he will be staying with her on their first night. To which he confirms, but he will be sleeping in a different room, of course. Ziad says that he can't sleep with Emma because she is not his wife yet. Emma is unwavering in her conviction that Ziad was telling a different story before she arrived. They arrive at the hotel, and Ziad gives her a bracelet. And of course, Emma requests he put it on her in a romantic way. Emma says that things have been awkward between her and Ziad since the airport, and she hopes that it doesn't linger. They have dinner together on their first night, which is a traditional Moroccan dish made by the housekeeper, Kabira. Their dinner conversation begins with them talking about how they met on a dating app, and Ziad initiated the conversation. And Emma talks about how Ziad gave her butterflies. Emma has had it with small talk, and decides to ask Ziad for more clarification about their relationship. Ziad clarifies for the umpteenth time that they cannot do anything more than hug and kiss on the cheek. Emma mentions how they discussed this topic on multiple occasions. Ziad claims that talk and reality are two different things, aka he's a liar. He now says that he told her they couldn't make love over call, not text, so there is no physical proof that he lied, which is exactly the excuse a liar would make. The producers decide to ask him about the conversation he had with Emma while she was at the beach during episode 1, in which he reassured her that they would do everything on the first night. Now, you could argue here that he was being flippant or interpreted her advances as a joke, but if what Emma says is true, and they have had more conversations similar to this one, then Ziad is simply telling Emma what she wants to hear in order to get her to marry him. Even after being confronted on his lies by the producers and being shown the receipts, he still insists that he just meant hugs and cheek kisses, and that Emma is to blame for the inappropriate talk. It turns out that Emma did the exact same thing with Ziad that she did with her ex Muhammad. She went on his social media and found that he was following a ton of female accounts, so she began messaging them to see what's up. And to no one's surprise, Ziad was apparently in communication with one of the supposed thousands of girls, which in 90-day terms means it's probably his cousin or something. Ziad doesn't really come across as a player to me, but that's just my opinion. But of course, when confronted about it, Ziad said the conversations were old, which leads Emma to speculate that she is in fact the side dish to someone else's entree, and that Ziad's reluctancy to be intimate with her is because he wouldn't want to cheat on his supposed spouse. And that concludes this week's episode of 90 Day Digest. Be sure to like and subscribe so that you can stay up to date on any and all new releases. This is a new channel, so feel free to leave a comment with any compliments or criticisms. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you, and see you on the next one.